All right, so mate, pumped. We're going to get into it. I think it's time to bring on our next speaker and first speaker for today. Now, Scott Bywater and I met one of our mutual friends, sort of connected us, and he said to me, "Dude, there's just this guy you've got to meet. He's just killer. He's one of those guys that you just don't meet all the time. He's one of Australia's best." Yeah, cool. You know, I love being able to talk to people and connect. Or where does he live? Mate, he's in Wollongong. You're kidding me. The guy's office is just like 3 kilometres around the corner from my office. All right, so someone of this calibre is living right here in Wollongong. So we got to catch up for a coffee and we just got talking about stuff. We spoke about Scott's group and what he's building in his community, which is sort of a similar community to this, but it's all about marketing and copywriting. It's talking about how you can talk to your target market and write things that are going to capture their attention. So it was a logical sort of step to get Scott in the rooms here today so that he can start to share some of these things with you. He's going to work through things. So we're going to actually get you to physically do stuff in the room today. It's not just about the learning. We're going to actually really focus on some implementation things today. So it's not just taking away ideas, it's actually taking away some practical things that you can use from here on after. All right, does that sound cool? Yeah, all righty. So if you could all please stand up and put your hands together for Scott Bywater. Thank you.
Testing? Yep, that's working. All good. So welcome everyone. So yesterday I was at the dinner last night, and from my understanding, what we covered was some amazing information on systems, and also on website, and then also on the accounting side of the business. And it sounds as though I've got a tough act to follow, because it sounds as though yesterday was a pretty incredible day. So what we're going to look at today is in terms of systems, but creating a marketing system for your actual business is what we're going to be looking at. So who likes the idea of creating a marketing system that every time you put $5 in, it punches out more than $5? Anyone? So like a little poker machine, you put $5 in, it gives you $7 back, and you put another $5 in. That's what we're looking to create for you today, and making your marketing so it's far more magnetic instead of this whole sort of thing where you're constantly chasing after the customers, where they're chasing after you. So let me ask you a question. Who really loves Google here? Who really loves Google? Who loves giving money to Google? Who loves giving money to Google? Come on, someone must love giving money to Google. Okay, so because I love giving money to Google. So Google, there we go. Who loves? So who loves Facebook? Like Facebook, advertising on Facebook and all that? Okay, so Facebook, there we go. Now the hands are starting to go up, right? So who loves the local newspapers and the TVs and all that sort of thing? Okay, so we've got, okay, so what you're doing, and you might look at me now and think, is this guy crazy? He's handing out money, has he lost the plot? But this is the sort of thing that you're going to do when you advertise. You're going to pay what I call a stupidity tax when you advertise if you don't really take into account what I'm going to be showing you today. And the benefit of learning this is you don't need to become, like I write for some of the biggest companies in the world, and you don't need to become the greatest copywriter in the world. Because if you're in the jungle and there's 4 of you here and you're in the jungle, okay, and a lion comes after you, how fast do you have to run to escape the lion? You just don't want to be the slowest guy, right? That's what you need to be. And in business, what you'll find when it comes to advertising and marketing, and I don't care if it's Facebook ads, Google ads, if it's newspaper ads, if it's TV ads, if it's any type of advertising, what you'll find in business is that most of your competitors aren't very good. because 99% of the ads out there are terrible. Yeah, they're absolutely terrible. So, Stephen, is it possible for someone to grab a newspaper out the back there? Because we might come back to that later. I should have grabbed it before. But 99% of the ads out there are just terrible. So you've just got to be a little bit better than the rest, than everything else out there. Now, let me ask you a question. In terms of who's ever run an ad and it hasn't worked? It's failed, it's flopped, it's lost money. And you might have said, advertising doesn't work. I've tried it, advertising doesn't work. And I'll tell you why. Anyone want to know why? Yes, sir. I want you to meet Aaron, the advertising man. Okay, so what's happening is there's companies out there that are advertising, they're making money. But what most people are doing, because advertising, doesn't matter where it is, Google, newspaper, etc., like anywhere, advertising is salesmanship in print. So the way you want to look at it is that you're going out there when you put an ad in there, when you put an ad anywhere, you're sending out an ad. The reason why your ad's not working is because you're sending out this guy as your salesperson. He's smelly. He scares people a bit. He's boring. No one wants to pay attention to him. He's not the guy you want representing your company. But most people are. That's the way most people are doing it. They do things like put their company name at the top of their ad. Now, who do you think cares? Who do you think cares about your company name when they see it at the top of your ad? You do, probably. It's like, hey, my ad's in the paper. And your mum. She really likes to see it in there. But your customers, the guys who are going to give you money, they don't care about your company name. They're like, they're not really too concerned.
If you're into branding and if somebody's looking for the name of your business, then it's important to have it, isn't it?
Well, let me ask you this. If you've got a specific problem, and what's going to get you more? Let's say you want to lose weight. Is John's Gym going to get you there as the number one thing, or is how to lose weight without exercise or something like that? What's going to grab your attention more? And that's what you've got to do. You've got to look at what the vast majority of people is going to grab their attention. Because today, we're faced with, there was a statistic years ago which said we get hit with 1,500 advertising messages a day. Today, I would say it's skyrocketed way above that. Because marketing and advertising has become so much more, there's so much more of it, and it's so much more complex. Because there's so many places to advertise. Who's ever had that? Where they've gone, I want to advertise, but I've got no idea where to advertise, what to do. I'm confused about what I should be doing. Who's ever sort of thought that? Facebook ads, Google ads, newspaper, TV, banner ads, joint ventures. I could go on and on. Fax broadcasting. There's heaps and heaps and heaps of things that you can do. And it's become a lot more difficult. Like one of my clients is a large, probably the largest pest control company in Sydney. And one of the things when I started working with him, he's quite a relaxed guy. He'd get in, he does his thing. He put his ad in the Yellow Pages every year. He had a full page ad, and the work would just roll in. The work would just roll in. Now, it's like you need a 250-page website with all these. It's got to be optimized. You've got to be advertising on Google. You've got to be doing this. You've got to be doing that. So it's become a lot more complex. And what we want to identify today is really look at where should you be focusing your advertising dollar. Okay, because years ago, I had someone come to me and he's like, he advertised something really specific, like it was something which only maybe 10% of business owners would need. It was some sort of software product. And he was going to place an ad in the Sydney Morning Herald. Now, for a lot of people, an ad in the Sydney Morning Herald makes sense, makes a lot of sense. But for him, does it make sense? 95% of people reading that paper, and he's not getting any discount for this, aren't his target market. So that's what we really want to keep in mind. And what we want to understand is that the number one thing we need to really grasp is to understand our target market. Because once you understand your target market, and I'm a copywriter and I have done campaigns where I did not understand my target market, truly. Like I had a broad understanding. And those campaigns have flopped because I got arrogant and I thought, hey, I can write great copy. But when I understand my target market, I don't even need to be that good of a writer because I understand what they're thinking. I can have my prospect, my client, virtually write the ad for me by getting into their shoes. Now, Robert Collier, who's quite a famous advertising guy, he said, what you want to do is you want to enter the conversation that is currently going on in your customer's mind. And that's where we want to be. And to do this, I just want you to grab a pen and paper. And we're going to take 5 minutes and we're going to answer these questions. So 7 questions. Hopefully everyone can see them okay. What are they fretting about? What are they lying in bed at night worrying about, stressing about, saying, whether it's, how am I going to make the mortgage payment, or whether it's, why is my dog sick, or whatever it is, depending on your business. What are they afraid of? What scares the life out of them? Maybe you're selling a martial arts school and it's the parents are scared their kids are going to get bullied. Or maybe you're selling to a business owner and he's dead scared that he's going to lose his biggest client who makes up 80% of his business. So what are they afraid of? What are they angry about? And who are they angry at? So when the GST came in, you write to business owners, they're all angry that the GST came in, or they're angry about the GFC, or maybe, when they brought in things like helmet laws in the US, for example, all the bikies were angry about the helmet laws. So what are they frustrated about? What are the 3 things that just frustrate them daily? And really get into your own skin with this, because think about what frustrates me daily, and then you start to get emotional about it. So what really frustrates them? And what do they want most, even if they won't tell you? What do they secretly, ardently desire more than anything? Like they want to lose weight without having to exercise and being able to eat as much as they want. Do you know what I mean? That's what they really want. But what do they really, really deeply desire? So how do they make decisions? Are they like super analytical, or are they more sort of relaxed about how they make decisions? And how are others selling to them, and what's working? I want to really look at what's going on. To really grab your pen out and sort of just this is thinking time, because this is the sort of stuff that can transform your business once you really grasp this and start to understand your target market. And so who's got some insights out of doing that exercise? Great, because this is like the foundation, is really digging in and getting to understand. And as you go through, I'll suggest a way in a second where you can dig deeper and deeper and deeper into this. But the next thing I'd like to do is to create what we call in the industry, and it's got nothing to do with the movie by the same name, an avatar. So this is my avatar for the information side of my business. So, and it basically says, Joe is 40 years old. Although highly skilled at what he does, he lacks the skills to effectively manage and market his business. He struggles to get new customers and finds it tough to convince customers to buy from him and differentiate his services from his competition. Most of the customers he does attract are price focused and don't truly appreciate the value he offers. Joe doesn't have a lot of time and is frustrated by the fact he spends too much time working in his business rather than on his business. He goes around in circles and can't work out what he's doing wrong. He's skeptical about advertising because he's run many advertising and marketing campaigns in the past which have failed to give him a return on his investment. He likes the idea of marketing online but is intimidated by it. He also finds it challenging to find and train good staff who are up to his standards. If we're going to sell to Joe, we need to make it easy for him to provide us with a shy yes so we can develop trust over time. Once trust is developed and Joe starts to see results, we need to invite him up the ladder so we can get the full value of the services we have to offer. So if you're sitting there, hopefully you can relate to Joe and you go, yeah, I have, I find it tough to get advertising work. I do this, I do that. So, and what you're picturing here by creating an avatar is you're creating one person in your mind. Because whenever you write, do you write to an audience? Now, even when I'm talking here now, am I talking to an audience or am I talking to lots of people one at a time? Because everyone's getting the message, right? One at a time. Same when you write an ad, you're only ever writing to one person. That's why you never never say, you guys in your email, or, it's never a group. You're only ever talking to one person specifically. So what you might like to do now is take a moment and take all of what you've done and create your avatar. Yeah, it might be, Clever Sally or Harry the Hermit or whatever name you want to give, but just so you can picture that person as your typical prospect or your typical customer, so that every time you go to write an ad from this day forward, what you're going to do is you're going to picture Joe, Steve, Phil, whoever, and what all his wants, his desires, his frustrations, his problems are. So take a moment. You're going to get a sore hand by the end of this session. But what you'll find when you actually take the time to write, see, anyone can go. The benefit of this, like this personal connection at events like this, is anyone can go and watch a thing on YouTube. But what you do if you take the time to really write down all this stuff, you're going to walk away and you're going to walk away with a plan. My aim at the end of today is exactly how to go about writing a headline, writing an opening, writing a basic ad that will set you apart from your competition. And number one is to get clear on Joe. Is there anyone who, and if you haven't finished, you can continue writing. Is there anyone here who wants to share who their Joe is? Yep.
I've had a regular client who's been my very ideal avatar through winter, and they've been keen enough to come wakeboarding in 8-degree water and 10-degree water, and very much an ideal customer. So they return all through winter. Every couple of weeks they'll come out, bring a few mates along, and their situation is a bit like mine. I mean, if you don't know wakeboarding, to entry into a boat level is about 100 grand. And a lot of people, I mean, the kids love it. They like the image of wakeboarding, but most kids can't afford it. So I wrote down before, a lot of people can't afford that lifestyle, but they'll still pay into it. And I wrote down Brent, he's still bored with weekend activities and nothing exciting to do. There's nothing out there that's grabbing his attention anymore, but he's still looking for things to do with mates. Teenage or early 20s, so they're cashed up from work, they're ready to have fun on the weekend and get out there and give things a shot. They're willing to drive, so they're willing to go for a day trip down the coast, and they're from Sydney, so they come down for a day and party up and chill out together, so they're all keen for fun. And they're happy to be guided by professional coaching with a credible reputation, so they're open to being taught. They don't just want to be showing up and that kind of stuff. They're pretty good guys. They come from a church background, so they're fairly well behaved and they're quite nice to get along with. So they're not just a bunch of hooligan kind of guys. And yeah, they can't afford the lifestyle of owning a boat, but they're more than happy to keep chipping away and paying for it on a regular basis. So that's kind of our ideal avatar, and stemming from that would be bucks parties as well. We've found quite predominantly a good market, because again, they can't afford the boat, but they'll afford to pay for that one-off kind of experience. So if anyone wants to come wakeboarding and you want to be an ideal avatar,
that's great.
And just on that, is there any other feedback, like, to guide me? I mean, I feel like I've done advertising. I'm just like, oh, it's just starting our business, John. You're expected to fail ads, but obviously not. Anything else I should be aiming at for you guys to think where I should be putting my market?
Why don't we get you on the hot seat?
All right? Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and in the next session we may be able to dig into that as well. So, yeah, so anyone else? Yep, over here.
Thanks. My avatar is 20 to 40 with a disposable income, however is really busy, is organised but hates organising, wants clear communication and direction, is price focused but is more looking for value, doesn't know our point of difference, however would appreciate it once experienced, a simple payment system, and wants to speak via phone to a human, not via email, does not want to be sold but wants to buy. So, yeah.
Yep.
So if anyone wants to come paintballing, let's come wakeboarding.
Thank you, Pete. Actually, just on that, our next team building day, we're going to go paintballing with Peter at Ultimate Paintball up in Camden. So, guys, we want to do paintball. Yep. Who wants to get shot? Who wants to shoot me? Yeah. All right. That's our next team building day. We just got to lock in a date. It's game on. You get on that park. It's game on. I'm not going to do the dishes. All right. Thanks, Pete.
And let me ask, after going through that exercise of creating your avatar, do you feel clearer now when you sit down to write about who it is that you're writing to? It gets that, it gets in that zone, and when it's one person, you can solidify that. Otherwise, you sort of go down to write, and you get sort of like this whole writer's block thing happening. Now, whoever gets writer's block when they sort of sit down and they try and write something, like write an ad or whatever. See, to me, it sort of makes sense, but it sort of doesn't, because whoever gets talker's block, whoever goes to talk, and just doesn't know what to say. Okay, we've got a few less, so it's much harder to get talker's block right, though. So what I want to encourage you to do is, as you're learning all this stuff, don't edit yourself when you write. Okay? Talk, write. Talk, write. So if you need to write something, you get your avatar very clear in your mind, and you say, well, if I wanted to get this avatar's attention, what would I need to say? I need to say, are you sick of not having enough adventure in your life? That's not necessarily the world's best headline, but it's a start, and I can talk it, and I can write it down, and I can refine it. You know what I mean? Or are you looking for are you over 40 and looking for for an amazing experience? Or are you over 35? Are you looking for a good time with your mates? And you just start talking and write, because the mistake that people make is they try and write and edit at the same time. Your first draft should just be a hodgepodge of terrible stuff. And you look at it and you go, that's terrible. But that's fine, because then you can go through and you can edit it. Otherwise, you just, you labour over it. You labour over it. So what we've, so the avatar is really critical. And what we've done now is we've laid the foundation of what's required. And now it's time to look at the three things that actually matter with an ad. Because there's things that whisper, the font that you use, the colour, the background, Yeah, all these sort of little things, and they can make a difference. They can make a 3%, a 5%, a 7%, a 10% difference. But what you want to focus on in the 80-20, the Pareto's principle that 20% of what you do makes up 80% of your results, is you want to get really clear on just 3 things. Your offer, is it enticing enough to get someone to make a decision? And guys, 5% off doesn't cut it. 10% off doesn't cut it. Who gets excited when they see a special offer for 10% off? Anyone? You know, so it's like, it just doesn't cut it. Who if there was a local coffee shop that just opened up and they said, come down for a free lunch, who would get excited about that? Yeah? And how much would it cost them? The cost of food, probably $3 or $4. The money they would throw away in advertising that didn't work, but instead they could have someone there who has a beautiful meal and then is won over and they've got a customer for life. So, you know, the offer, the headline. You know, so if we look at, you know, at some of the headlines just here, like fixed fee legal services, prepare for summer. Anyone racing down to the shop? Prepare for summer. No, they're not mine. This is just in the local paper. But Harrigan SUV sale. So we've got, you know, quite Optus. You know, so there's if you look at most headline, they're very, very ordinary. Okay? How about if you open up the phone directory and it says something like, yeah, you get the most amazing lamb roast, guaranteed, or it's free, and you're looking to cater. And then it follows up and it answers all of your questions. You want to be really thinking of, where's my prospect at, and what's the headline that's going to hit them between the eyeballs. And then the target market, which is critical. Because if you're looking to sell Harley Davidsons, you probably shouldn't advertise in the knitting magazine. And that sounds silly, but so many business owners make that mistake in one way or another. They're advertising in a place where, like I mentioned before, yeah, they've got a niche service, but they're advertising to everyone. And these days, it's far easier to be able to dig in and market and advertise to your target market. Like with Google Ads, obviously, Google Ads, the way I look at it in terms of probably two of the biggest marketing mediums online today, Google Ads is like the old school phone directories. You know, you type it in, you're looking for something, boom. Facebook ads is like newspapers, except you can just be so much highly targeted. Like if you saw the stuff that you can do with you know, stuff like Facebook, you can advertise to people who are between 35 and 40 and see if they can convert better than 40 to 45. You can advertise to people who are similar to your who are your competitors' fans. Like you can get in there and you can really dig in and deep dive with some of the new advertising mediums today. So, and you want to be sort of have an understanding of all of them. But let's dig into these three. Where should I advertise? And the question is, where do your target market hang out? Because all advertising is an opportunity to communicate. Yeah, that's all it is. So, what sort of businesses do we have here? Anyone want to just name their business? Plumbing. So your target market hangs out. And one of the things with plumbing, see, if I was a plumber, I would be more likely to go for things like Google AdWords and things like that, because when do we call a plumber? In an emergency. So it's sort of it's more of an emergency type of market, and understanding the customer. You know, that Joe calls when he's got an emergency. He needs a fix now sort of thing. So, but then once you've got customers, well, you want to stay in their face on a regular basis. Because I've had plumbers come to me who I liked a few years ago, I wouldn't even have any idea who they are now. So fridge magnets, great, but also ongoing newsletters and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So, and the thing I have seen and heard work in the plumbers is like that whole, fast, like flyers can work, but the emergency, I need a plumber, Google is a great place.
You need a few different markets, builders, homeowners.
Yes. And
agents.
you may have a few different avatars. So when I say create one avatar, but for you,
What I did,
yeah, so you've got builders, real estate agents, homeowners, and all of you may have 3 or 4 different avatars. I know I do. I've got avatars for like really big clients for consulting, and then avatars for more more sort of education-based stuff. So that's that's good. Yeah. Any other businesses? What's that, sorry?
builders.
Oh, builders. So builders, in terms of who's your target market?
Females, 35.
Fe-
Yeah,
So where do females who are 35 hang out?
Facebook.
Facebook. So Facebook's a great thing. So you could probably do Facebook. You could do Google, and you could also do. You could also look at. Just think where are they hanging out? Maybe they're hanging out on, mum's blogs or things like that. If you sort of just brainstorm it, because what you want to always do is you want to be what's the most dangerous number in business? The most dangerous number. Anyone want to have a guess? 0, 0, 1. Yes, why is 1 the most dangerous number? No diversity. Because if I've got one marketing medium, I know people who they advertise on Google AdWords, and then the Google slap came along, which was if you had like a squeeze page on Google AdWords, they just ripped your account off you. What happened to their business if that's the only thing that they relied on? Or if the only thing you relied on was phone directories several years ago, 10 years ago, and that's all you did, what happened to your business now? So the worst number is number 1. So you want to be looking at having as many mediums. There's an image I sometimes use, I don't have it with me today, but of the pillars, like the Greek pillars, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holding them up. Now, if you only have one medium, you've only got one thing holding you back, holding you up. And it's the same with any type, with everything. If you've only got one staff member or one support person, that person disappears, what happens to you? And that's the importance of systems, which Kim was talking about yesterday. But you always want to be aware of that number 1. So just write down now, where does your target market hang out? Where are they? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Google? Are they on particular blogs? Are they, where are they hanging out? Are they in particular networking groups? We've got some, a number of you in networking groups. Are they hanging out? Are they hanging out there? Or are they hanging out? Where are they? Where are they hanging out? And think about your current customers and your best customers, because you'll find that 80% of your customers generally come from 20%. 20% of your customers will make up 80% of your business. Think about them and how you found them. And where were they hanging out? Because you want more of them.
So how do you categorise referrals? That's its own way where they're not, do you know what I mean?
So they're talking to each other. And maybe you could encourage that. You could set up a referral program. So I would put that. I would just label that as a referral program. Because you could set up, you can set up programs to instigate referrals as well. So So now what we're getting clear on is where to advertise and who to advertise to. And now, what do you need to do in advertising before anything else happens? Before anything else happens, before it's possible to get a customer, you've obviously got to place the ad in the right place where your target market's hanging out. But what's the next step? Research? Know your keywords? Create the offer? What comes even before the offer? Call to action is important. What's even before that? See what your competitors are doing? Even before that, what needs to happen? I'm scrolling through the newspaper. What needs to happen before I can become a customer or before I can even know about you? I'm scrolling, I'm looking very quickly. Attention. Perfect. So we've got to grab their attention. And the problem, see sometimes, and you'll see this online, you'll see all these headline templates, like the 100 best headlines ever written and that sort of thing, which is great. But until you know your target market, you can't write a headline to that person. It becomes like a cookie cutter type of headline, which really doesn't grab them. They laughed. They laughed when I thought about wakeboarding, but then I started doing it. Yeah, that might be an okay headline, but when you actually really get to know your target market, and you know that they're scared stiff and they're going through a midlife crisis or something, I'm just using that as an example, but you can write a headline which just, is like a Shiva arrow. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, boom, you see it and you go, this guy gets me. And that's the sort of headlines you want to do. So let's have a look at these are some of the sample headlines to get you started. And I could talk about headlines for probably about 40 hours. Because I write about 10 lots of them a week, and I get them split tested against 2 other copywriters for one of the largest natural health companies in America. And then I see the results, which is just incredible learning. But these are a few that will get you started. How to. So how to enjoy your, how to lose weight doing something you love. Might be for wakeboarding. How a 40-year-old man lost 7 kilos doing something having the time of his life. Who else wants to? We suggest that other people do and has a little bit of that social proof element. Who else wants to find a builder who won't rip them off? What nobody tells you about. What nobody tells you about accounting. Or what nobody tells you about how accountants charge. As an example. And it's like, I want to know that. Is that headline better than Bob's Accountants? Bob's Accountants. It gets your attention because it's the whole. You've probably heard of this if you've been to seminars, WIIFM. What's in it for me? And Bob's Accountants doesn't say any of that. Are you suffering from? Are you suffering from? So as you're listening to me, scribble down your own headlines for your business. So this is, and we're coming at it from different angles, like how to might be a promise type angle, like how you're going to get these benefits. Are you suffering from is more of a problem type of angle. Are you suffering from staff who just won't do the job that you want them to do? And if you've got your avatar and you know that that's a problem for the business owners you deal with, then that headline can really grab their attention. Are you making these mistakes in? Famous headline, are you making these mistakes in English? It ran for years and years and years and years. Okay? Are you making these mistakes in... Let's take one business and I'll apply this across the board for your whole business. Anyone? Yeah. Know what it is? Yep. Personal training. Okay. So how to... what people want with a personal trainer, I imagine, is most of them want to lose weight, and they probably want to have more energy. So a very simple one is who's your target market? What age group round about?
35 to 49.
For business people. So working class business people. So business people. So how business people can boost their energy and lose 7 pounds. You know what I mean? So how a 40-year-old, and then you could take a success story of your customer, and you could say how a 40-year-old businessman lost 7 kilos in 2 weeks and boosted his business by 23%. Because at the end of the day, look for the deeper need. If you're a business owner, what do you want? Results. You want productivity. You want money. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to you as a personal trainer, but what's going to happen if I go to you? I get fitter, I get sharper. What's likely to happen? And I'm going to become less productive or more productive? And if I'm more productive, I'm going to make more money or less money? So maybe you're in the make more money niche. Just think about that because everyone else is selling lose weight, get fit, lose weight. Do you know what I mean? So you can sort of maybe look at reposition yourself, and then you can get studies. You can actually get specific studies on how productivity boosts, on how fitness boosts productivity. And there is a ton of studies how if you exercise, you do a simple search on Google, you exercise first thing in the morning, there's a ton of studies showing it's going to boost your productivity. It's going to make your productivity soar. Your productivity soar, make more money. And then you've got the business people who have all these staff, and you sell packages because what happens if all your staff are more productive? You make more money. So that's like the need. So really think deeply about this. Who else wants to? Yep.
Just with that make more money thing, with that the devil's advocate here.
Yep.
If he goes out and says that come and do this and you'll make more money.
Yep.
And then the ACCC get involved, then he
yep.
could be like if you promise someone that they're going to make more money.
Yep.
And then obviously they go and do it, they don't make more money.
Yep.
Well,
I mean,
that as well, isn't there?
I don't think you're going to guarantee it. You're going to say you're going to show how by studies you can become more productive. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to say you wouldn't run a headline like, I guarantee if you train with me, I'll make you an extra 50 grand a year, because you couldn't promise that. But what you can do is you can show that the studies are facts by Harvard Medical Review or something like that. It's like well, you show that because what you want to do, because what's going to trigger with every ad you write is the yeah sure response. And this is a problem with hypey ads, because if I go out there and I say I can make you $1 million by Thursday, well, is that a good headline? As soon as your skepticism radar goes up and shuts down into the yeah sure response. So if I'm going to make a claim like that, I need to follow up with boom, yeah sure. I need to prove it. You need proof elements with everything you do. And what you could do is, if you had a testimonial or a case study, you could do an ad from the case study which talks about how John the builder started personal training with him, boosted his productivity, got all his staff on it, boosted the productivity, and a nice thing that happened, a nice extra that happened was, my business jumped by 20% that year. Not saying I'll do it for you, but all the elements there. Yep.
But depending where the ad also, what would really hit me is boost your productivity.
Is what, sorry?
Is boost your productivity, that would grab me.
Yes, exactly. So, and boost your productivity is a simple one to promise, because all the proof elements are there. Do you know what I mean? So that's definitely doable. So what nobody tells you about the the dangers of exercise. What nobody tells you about the dangers of exercise. And from the studies I've done and the research I've done, if you're doing marathons, it's not the best for your heart and not the best for your health. So you could come at it from that sort of angle and then talk about how we've got a new exercise system and get this free report which will teach you about it. Are you suffering from middle-age lag with a picture of a man tired or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Here's how to get out of it. Are you making these mistakes when you exercise? Don't hire if they're going to Google, don't hire a personal trainer until you read this. I look up personal trainer. Don't hire a personal trainer until you read this. So as I'm talking about these, start really scribble them down for your business while it's hot on your mind. Because if you write it down now, you're going to remember so much more later on. Yeah, no, you're welcome. A few things to think about. So, yeah, and you can literally have, if you want to become an advertising expert, create a dozen ads, run them, and then see which one works and see which one doesn't. And you'll soon know which hook. Like that one about earning extra income, that might be a terrible idea. You don't listen to the experts, you listen to the market. Because I don't know what's going to work, you don't know what's going to work. The only person the judge, jury and executioner of your advertisement is you put $50, $100, $500, $1,000, whatever it is on an ad, does it work or does it not? Yeah, that's the only judge. Now the next problem is most offers are so bad, they make me want to cry. Yeah, they're really bad. They're the 5% off. They're the 10% off. What you want to be looking at when you're making an offer is what do your target market care about? And you want to be looking at using information. If you've got a high ticket item, let's say you're a builder, you want to be using information, education, free reports. This is the sort of thing you want to be doing. You want to be educating. Because who's ever used a builder or someone to do something around their home? Was it, if you didn't know anyone, was it pretty hard to actually work out who was the real deal and who wasn't? There's a book called Utility. And there's a company in America called River Pools and Spas. The GFC hit, and they were turning over about $4 million a year. They were spending $200,000 on advertising. They started doing something called content marketing, which is basically just putting lots of education up online. And they dropped their advertising spend from $200,000 to $20,000. Their sales jumped from 4 to 4.5, to I think it was 4.5 mil. If you get the book, you can confirm the details. In the middle of the worst financial crisis, through education. So don't discount the importance of education. Yep.
Is that why blogging works so well?
Yeah, blogging can work really well if you can get because you think about it. Who do you do you trust me more now or 3 hours ago? Yeah. But the only reason for the extra trust is because of information and education. Do you know what I mean? And if you're a builder, exactly. Yeah, if you've got information up there, and I read it, because what River Pools and Spas found is that if someone had read 10 or more of their blog posts or watched 10 or more of their videos, I think it was 10 or more, the average closing rate in the industry was 10%. Guess what their closing rate was? 80%. And you know why? Because we buy based on trust. And we were talking about this last night, the importance of trust is critical. Trust is critical, but what you want to do, so you can generate trust one-on-one or while you're talking to one, when you advertise, you want to generate trust on a mass scale. That's what we want to be looking to do, and that's how you do it. Now, information and free reports is great for high-ticket items. If you're a coffee shop or something like that, what you want to do is you want to... How do you get to taste test a coffee shop? Free coffee. And if someone offered you a free coffee, it's 5 minutes down the road, they just opened up, would you go and taste test them? Maybe. Not everyone would. You might get... But you get a much higher percentage rate than if you just sent out a flyer saying, Bill's Coffees, open now, open 7 days, etc., etc. So it gives you much higher odds. And the trust is really super critical in this process. So let me show you a few examples. And in the next session, we're really going to dig in and look at how we can apply this directly. So here's an example. Like this is what I've got on my website, which converts quite well. And I'll send people there from a Facebook page or a Facebook ad. Yeah, and it's like marketing, advertising cheat sheets. Put your email in here. Quick headline, bullets, close, boom. Converts about, in the current test I'm doing, it's converting about 40 to 50% when I'm sending people there from Facebook. Depends on the ads. Some of the ads are about 25%. But who gets a 40 to 50% conversion rate on their web page? So
Is that an ad? Sorry.
yeah. So what this is, it's what's called in the industry like a squeeze page or a lead page. So, but it could be an ad. You could have this in your local newspaper. You could have this here. You could adapt that. I'll show you a few for the newspapers in a second for a couple of different industries. But you could have that on your website. Just don't send people from Google to a page like this because Google doesn't like it. But if you can send people from Facebook to a page like this. Now yours might be, download your complimentary, or here's the one thing that you can do to shed 2 inches off your abs, or something like that. And then you've got your one tip, which you put into a report or a video or whatever. And some of them are very, very easy. If you go to leadpages.net, they actually have samples of their best campaigns. I don't know if you've got to subscribe or not, but it's a really easy way of putting this stuff together without having to pay a lot of money to a web developer. And if you want to test out different things online and send people there from Facebook ads and all that sort of thing. I'll show you a few others, and I'll give these to Steve as well afterwards, so you can grab them, copies off them off him as well. So here's a free lunch concept.
If you find advertising like that, they've actually got to bring a voucher in, so you can actually track how your advertising's going.
Yeah.
You find that's
Yeah, you want to be able to track it. You need to be able to track it. And the more you can track it down to the dollar, the better. So because with every ad you want, it's like a salesperson. See, if I came up to you as a salesperson and I said, I want to work for you, I can't really, promise any results, and I've worked for you 12 months, and you say, well, what did you do? Oh, you didn't make any sales. And he said, yeah, but I got your name out there. Who here would be happy with that and continue to hire the salesperson? Because it's good to get your name out there, right? It doesn't matter if it costs 60 grand, 80 grand a year, so you want results. You want it to be down. So in this example, whoever said there was no such thing as a free lunch, didn't know about this voucher, and then it goes in, offers a free dinner, and boom, very simple ad. Here's another one for a hairdresser. If you're in hairdressing, you're actually better off offering a blow wave to women because otherwise they get scared you're going to hack their hair apart. Women are a bit more conscious of their hair than us guys. So introduce you to the fashion. So then you've got. So that's basically the offer or the ad. So that's for if you've got a low cost continuity item. And let me just show you a few more. If your offer is a result, the important thing is, what sort of business do you have?
Skin clinic, but I don't do this kind of special profit because
Yeah.
there's not that market.
Now, the way you can frame it, see, what is you could do it via information. Okay, so if what do women want? They want to look younger, right? Yeah, free report reveals how any woman can, and I'm just coming up with this off the top of my head, you'd need to validate it, but can shave 10 years off her face. Get this, one simple thing you can do to shave 10 years off your face. Bang, I want that report. Then you educate me, right? Then you educate me. I trust you, I come and buy from you, and you're at a premium. You keep your prices at a premium. Because I'm not into discounting, I'm into charging maximum price. But, you've got to bring people into the fold. Do you know what I mean? And they've got to trust you. Because otherwise, you charge maximum price, they don't know you, they don't trust you, they're not going to pay it, sort of thing. So it's about building those relationships. So,
What do you think about 2-for-1 offers in the meat industry? Butcher?
I think it's fine. Like 2-for-1 offers, but they found buy one get one free is the best. It's better than 50% or better than 2-for-1. And I think making an offer like that occasionally is good. The thing you want to be careful of with sales, if you offer them too regularly, then people stop seeing they get ad fatigue. So, you know, the occasional one, or you might offer it just to your database, or get the email addresses of every one of your clients, and then if you're having a slow month or whatever, bang, 2-for-1 offer, and do you know what I mean? So I think, so this is an example of a free report. I've used this for years, and it's basically just an educational report which walks people through, gives them all these cheat sheets and that sort of thing. And easiest way to create one of these reports, because you might look at this and get intimidated. Okay, initially, run the ad, offer the free report. Okay, the way to create the free report is work out 7 questions that you want to ask. 7 questions that your customers are interested in. So in this example, how do I shave 10 years off my face? It's a big claim, shaving 10 years off your face. How is it possible? Really? Oh, it's from this new technology. How does this technology work? Oh, where did the technology come from? So you ask them these 7 questions. It's an interview. You get it transcribed, which will cost you $50 or $100 or whatever it costs you. Okay, then you take that transcription, you do it up into a little ebook. There's your free report. You're creating it in 1 or 2 hours rather than paying a copywriter several $1,000s to do it for you, or spending your next month or just not doing it because it all seems too hard. Okay, so what we're after is lean and speed, because what happens is you want to be testing stuff. There's a book called The Lean Startup by, I think it's Eric Rice, brilliant book. And what he talks about there is just get things out there, get them tested as quickly as possible. Because if you're testing one thing a week, boom, 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 like you go into the wakeboards and you test advertising this market. After 6 months, how much do you have? You've got 26 different tests. I'm the other wakeboarder. I've done nothing. I'm relying on my existing customers. Who's smarter? Who's going to be the better advertiser, the better marketer? Yeah, because you never make a loss in advertising. You just get data, and you want to keep your tests as low as possible in terms of risk. So let me just do a very quick summary of what we've covered so far. So basically, what we've looked at is there's only really 3 things that are super critical, and those 3 things are your headline, your offer, and your target market. That's where you want to focus on. We've got an understanding of our target market, and then basically in the next session, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at writing an ad for your business, like coming up with a headline, writing an ad, because I want everyone to walk out of here with a structure for an ad to test, so that you can go out, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google, whether it's wherever, you can go away, from today, and on Monday, you can place an ad, that you can test and you can get some data with. Let's, I hope you've enjoyed this session, and I'll hand it back over to Stephen.
Good one. Excellent. Thank you, Scotty. Brilliant.